Tov, Shana Tova, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. It is great to see everybody who's here in person. Everyone that's davening from the cyberspaces or from home, we welcome you as well to a fresh new year. Of course, you know, Gevalt, another new year. COVID cases are rising again. Gevalt, what do you need? We're grateful, though, that everyone's doing the best they can under the circumstances. It's a pleasure to be together, to celebrate a new year. Even with all that's going on in the world and challenges, personal challenges, national challenges, challenges in the state of Israel, challenges throughout the world, Ukraine, and you know, there's even hurricanes going on right now in the Northeast. Various things going on in climate change. This is a challenging time. We're at a crossroads, but we come together for our 19th year here. Please thank God at Beth Meyer. We came here when we were like just barely 21. You know, that's how it was. And it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here in daven with you all and to help lead. So a little something to hopefully lift you this Rosh Hashanah and maybe talk about at your dinners and over the Chag, over the weekend. So it's a question that some of you maybe have never fully thought about. It's so obvious of a question. It's kind of a Talmudic, up your Talmudic yarmulke on, okay? Why does Rosh Hashanah, the new year, come 10 days before Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement? Now you say, Rabbi, you know, you have a put your head on straight? Of course it's obvious because the Torah tells you so, because the Talmud says so. Obviously the new year, this is the way it's done for thousands of years. Okay, I understand. I get it. But if you just take a second to think about it a little bit, right? Rosh Hashanah, a new year, a new slate, starting fresh, kind of letting that last year be in last year. Let's start a new year. And then a new year happens. And then 10 days later, you're saying, oh, I feel so badly about what happened last year. Shouldn't it make more sense? Put your Talmud hats on, okay? I should first apologize, work it out with God, work it out with other people, work on my own changes, apologies, forgiveness. Yom Kippur should be before the new year. Then you actually start the new year fresh and clean slate. But guys, the rabbis are not idiots, okay? And they know what they're doing. They're not the nudniks of North Raleigh, I like to say, okay? They know what they're doing. So the question is, why did the rabbis, because actually the Torah does not say Rosh Hashanah. Some of you are my Torah scholars. The Torah says Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, yes, in the book of Leviticus. But Rosh Hashanah is not used. It's a later language used in the Talmud. Rosh Hashanah in the Torah is called Yom Teruah, a day of sounding the shofar, and it evolved into Rosh Hashanah. But the bottom line question is, why do the rabbis create this idea of a new year, and then 10 days later apologize or work out what you did last year? Well, I thought it was a new year. So what's the teaching behind this? So, of course, I got to share a little story with you guys, okay? Right? When I came to Beth Meyer, you know, back in the day, before I had gray hair, okay, when I came to Beth Meyer, I had an amazing experience. This is again, one of these things that I just treasure about being a shul rabbi. I know Rabbi Jenny joins me in this, but especially at Beth Meyer, it was so meaningful to me. I was here probably like a year or two, you know, still learning how to be a rabbi, okay, and be a rabbi at Beth Meyer. And a gentleman came into my office, had a meeting with me. I had not met him yet, still getting to know the shul. And he said, Rabbi, I have a big problem, and I'm wondering if you can help me. I said, okay, well, you know, what's going on? He said, I have a very, very close friend. First of all, I'm a member of the shul for X number of years. My very, very close friend, also been in a shul for many, many years. Our families are friends. We've celebrated B'nai Mitzvah together. We've been we've gone on vacation together. We've done everything. And a couple years ago, because we get along so well together, and both of us are entrepreneurs who invest in different kind of business, possibilities, we turned to each other and said, you know, Shmulek, let's make a business together. Let's do it. You have ideas, I have ideas. You have this strength, I have this strength. Let's make a business. Well, at first, it sounded like such a great idea. The business was successful, it was going well, whatever it was. I understood it just enough to be dangerous, okay, of what the business was. But what happened? The tide came in. And what was happening is they started having tsuris. They were fighting with each other. It started with some business disagreements, okay? But next thing you know, this friendship that they had was starting to go down the tubes. And so they came to me and said, you know, we're about one step away from lawyering up, okay? And I thought, I've read these stories back from the shtetl in Eastern Europe, okay? That once in a while, they actually would bring the rabbi in to try to come up with some kind of Solomonic, to use a good term, okay? Solomonic decision. And actually, some of you may know, today still in the more traditional communities, even especially Orthodox, sometimes they actually go and sign a document saying, we will abide by whatever the rabbi decides. I said, no, I wasn't going to do that, don't worry, okay? But I said, I know a little bit, I know this much about counseling, I can help, and I'm not Rabbi Jenny's expertise, but let's try. So the guys talked to each other. They said, you know what, let's see with the rabbi. They came to my office, sat down, they sat on opposite parts of the room, okay? And they started to tell their story. One shared his perspective on the business and what's happening and how they need to deal with whatever it's going to be, frankly, closing the business, it sounded like. And the other one gave his perspective on what should be and how they disagreed on the business. And they listened to each other, because I made them, be mensches, okay, and they were mensches. And basically they paraphrased it. Here's what he's saying, here's what he's saying, here's what he's saying. In the end, we had no solutions. But they listened to each other. They were respectful. And in the conversation, both of them said, more important than this business, I sense that our friendship is on the line. In fact, we don't know if our friendship is going to be saved. That's why we're here, so to speak, I'm using my own language here, to try to save it, basically. And what I said to them then is the same thing I'm telling you now about why Rosh Hashanah comes before Yom Kippur. What I said to them then was, look, I don't know, I'll pray that your business gets saved. I'll pray even more that your friendship gets saved. But the truth of the matter is neither of one of those things are guaranteed. It's not guaranteed, either way. But what is true is that both of you cared enough about each other to show up in my office. Both of you were respectful enough, even though you disagreed pretty strongly, to sit and respectfully listen to the other person. And you even were willing to paraphrase what they were saying, even though I could tell in your face you were turning red because you didn't agree with what your friend said. But you did that because you were willing to show up. You're willing to face the music. You're willing to hear your business partner and friend say things about your decisions that you were going to disagree with and maybe even thought were upsetting. Rosh Hashanah is the same thing. Before we rush to Yom Kippur and work things out, please God, with each other, with ourselves, the first step is to show up, is to say, this matters to me. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'm going to try. I'm going to show up. Now, we're in the shul business, so we like showing up at shul, okay? And live stream. But I'm actually not talking just about showing up physically, right? I'm talking about showing up with a full heart and a full soul to say, before I work on all my stuff, all my tsuris, first I have to admit that there's a problem and that I'm willing to work on solving the problem. And over these 10 days, I'm going to, and I encourage you, I've done it before, but I encourage you to consider, after Rosh Hashanah, before Yom Kippur, just take out a thing on your phone or even old school paper and just write down, what do I got to work on this year? What do I need to show up for? In myself, behaviors. What is it going on with other people? What broigas and struggles I got with others? With God, with the Torah, with the world? What do I got to work on? Before I jump to, so to speak, fix it or even apologize or forgive, first I got to show up that I'm willing to do the work. So what am I saying? Why is Rosh Hashanah come before Yom Kippur? It sounds like I have a hole in my head, okay? Because Yom Kippur, you're apologizing for last year? No. Because the Jewish wisdom is, it takes time to work things out. But the first step, you have to agree there's a problem. And you have to show up to do the work. Once you do that, anything's possible. But if you don't think there's a problem, or you don't want to show up, nothing's going to change. I pray all of us here, we have so much challenge in the world, that all of us work on what's going on in the world, society, anti-Semitism. You hear more about this in my drasha tomorrow. Sadly, is on the rise. There are so many challenges. There's also challenges inside our own hearts. There's challenges between people in our shul, but also within families and friendships. Things need to change. Don't run to fix it yet. We got 10 days. First, do the mitzvah, which you are already doing, and I'm proud of you, but keep it going, of showing up. That is the message of Rosh Hashanah. May we all show up with full hearts this year. Amen. Amen. Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom.